Hi, my name is Justin Latimer, and I'm going to show you a Medieval 2 Total War battle replay. This time it's the Holy Roman Empire against the Byzantines. The map is the Eiffel Mountains, and the Eiffel Mountains are characterized by a very large mountain which you face immediately after deployment.
Units, await my command!
In another video, I used the Holy Roman Empire against Venice, and I had deployed in front of this hill, and my strategy was to get up the hill as quickly as I could, outflank the opponent, and win. But unfortunately, that was not possible. I ended up getting beat, and I think that the reason why is because I had made a poor choice in deployment. The best thing to do on this map, your opponent is probably going to deploy on this hill. And so because they're going to deploy on this very good hill here, you should go over here, and when the battle starts, rush over this way, turn around, and face them this way. And although they will still have a slight hill advantage, it's much more negated than if you try to go up the mountain. When you're in a battle, always look for the best terrain you can use. And for me, right now, deploying over here is the best place I can deploy. For my army, I have brought 4 units of reiters, and one of those units, 2 of them, are thickened up with my general. I've also brought 4 units of Landsknecht pikemen, because this is a Renaissance army, and I've also brought 4 units of arquebusiers. That is a lot of yellow and black. They look like bumblebees. I've also brought 2 units of Zweihander, which is actually German for freehander. Little known fact, you actually can't use a sword that requires free hands. The freehander's sword is used with 2 hands. So I hesitate here. I actually deploy over here as opposed to going through with my strategy because I see my opponent has not deployed on the mountain, in fact. And for a while, I briefly entertained the idea of advancing along this hill here as sort of a diagonal. But my opponent redeploys, and I decide I'm going to do the same. I'm going to dedicate to the strategy I had planned on earlier. My opponent's playing as the Byzantines, so he will not have a lot of gunpowder in his army. He has these really skilled Latin soldiers, and he also has Byzantine guard archers, which are very good archers. He's also got Latin cavalry. These are Catholic mercenaries that fight for the Orthodox Byzantines. Or they're drawn from Catholic lands anyhow. The Latins, as the Byzantines call them. Some of them have these really cool face masks. Really cool armor. And what's interesting about this battle is I have the Holy Roman Empire fighting against the real Roman Empire, and that would be the Byzantine Empire. The Byzantine Empire is what's left of the Roman Empire in the Middle Ages. He also has these Varangian Guard. These are drawn from the Vikings and the Russians. Also the English, Saxons, and once an English king served as a Varangian Guard. The Varangian Guard are the bodyguard for the Emperor. So, let's go take a look at my army again. My opponent is relying on archers for his missile component. I am relying on arquebusiers. Arquebusiers have much shorter range than archers, but if I can use terrain to my advantage, that should negate some of the range of the archers. It should also increase my range, and the shot of the arquebus is quite dangerous. I believe an arquebus gets around 14 damage. A good archer gets around 9. also brought a lot of pikemen, so my army should be safe from his Latin con cavalry. And I've also been able to go toe-to-toe with some of the best cavalry in the game with these reiters. And that's because reiters carry a pistol. Instead of charging with lances, they charge with pistols. And the Germans have done a lot of tests, and what they found during the Renaissance was that the pistol does as much or more damage than a regular lance charge. And so that's why they outfitted these guys with pistols. They were able to fire pistols, and then they would switch to using a spear. And the spear can be quite useful when fighting other cavalry. So the reiters don't have to worry about enemy cavalry much, and they don't have to worry about enemy infantry much. Truthfully, they don't have to worry about a lot of things. You can just consider them a proto-tank. One of the things the game does not reflect really well is that the reiters would often carry more than one pistol. So after firing a shot, they would just pick up another pistol and fire again. In-game, they do have to reload. But they're pretty powerful as it is, so I'm not complaining. My general's bodyguard is outfitted in plate armor. Very fancy armor. It was made so that anywhere as you attacked, blows would strike, they would fall off it, and be ineffectual. And the Germans were pioneers in the art of armor making at this time, making some of the best armor. I'm within range of the enemy Byzantine guard archers. They do have long range. My arquebusters are warmed up now. I'm going to run them into the forest because I need to retaliate with my fire. I'm also going to send out my cavalry because my cavalry can be quite useful for suppressive fire. It's going to be hard to get some shots up with my army marching past. So from my position on top of the mountain, I am able to do quite a bit of damage against the Byzantines. My reiters attack with both their spears and their pistols. The Latin con are shaking, and now they're wavering. And the dismounted Latin con feel that victory seems certain. I'm not going to stay on this fight though, as I have my infantry coming to support.
Our men are under attack. We need to act.
The Latin con are now broken. My reiters have done a lot of good damage on their initial charge. I consider them to be very much shock troops, quite able to perform shock tactics, and for people unaccustomed to fighting them, they would have been quite terrifying. One of the things you can do with reiters, because they're good heavy cavalry but they also carry a pistol, is you can pull them out of battle a lot and just have them shoot, and that will maximize their worth in battle. Otherwise they're wasted. They also have a ton of shots. Their shots do a ton of damage too, about 20 each. So whatever they shoot will probably end up dead. Meanwhile, my infantry are advancing on the Byzantines. The Byzantine Greeks, and ironically I'm using a pike army against the people who are now the Greeks.
under attack. We need to act.
I'm rushing Zweihander through my pikes. My Reiters are charging the Varangian Guard. Varangian Guard have very slow attack, whereas Reiters have much quicker attack. I'm marching my arquebusters closer to the battle. Up in the mountain, they were no longer in range of anything.
We are being defeated. We must change tactics.
We're pushing the enemy army back.
Under attack. We must act
It's
now.
falling down the hill, so I need to get the arquebusters back into the battle. This unit of Varangian Guard has been surrounded by my troops. It's surrounded by Landsknecht pikemen and Zweihander. Quite a bad prospect for this Varangian Guard. I'm gonna cut off the reinforcements with my Reiters.
The enemy has lost half his army.
These Latin Khan are going to be engaged by my Landsknecht pikemen. That guy managed to make his way through my
Men are
ranks.
under attack. We need to act.
Gonna march my Reiters back in range of the enemy.
We must change tactics.
We're not being defeated. I don't know what's wrong with my announcer. He must be neurotic or something. Histrionic. Crazy announcer. I'm gonna try to outflank these Latin Khan with my Zweihander, expedite their routing. Units do not like being flanked. Their morale probably won't hold up very long. Even elite units like Latin Khan are subject to routing when they're flanked. Meanwhile, my cavalry are harassing his archers. Byzantine guard archers are very good archers. They're able to fight as swordsmen, but swordsmen are not very good against our cavalry. Cavalry are able to destroy swordsmen relatively easily due to the weight of their charge. These Latin Khan are holding up impressively. My arquebusters are still firing on the enemy.
This battle seems to be creeping in our favor.
I think my announcer just likes to talk. So 2 units of Byzantine guard archers are routed.
We are the victors on this day.
My opponent has admitted defeat. He was a newer player. Alright, let's go over some statistics. I deployed 841 men against my opponent's 861. I lost 320, my opponent lost 666 exactly. Isn't that interesting? I have 521 men remaining, my opponent has 195 men remaining. I killed 466 and captured 195. My opponent killed 363 and captured 1. So he did really good, despite being a new player. And let's talk about casualties here. My general's bodyguard inflicted 19, my reiters took down 61 and 85, and the other units of reiters took down 48 and 85. Landsteck pikemen 9, 20, 8, and 13. Zweihander 9 and 27. And my arquebusiers took down 22, 20, 33, and 7. This unit of reiters, not only did they kill 85, they captured 95. Good game to my opponent. What I would have recommended for him, actually, was to deploy in this hill here, because if he was going to take a defensive position like he did, he probably should have maximized his defensive position. The reason why I employed the tactic I did was to specifically counter against the use of terrain here. So he could have used it to its utmost. That said, him being a newer player and the statistics here, I believe that it shows that he did do a pretty good job in defending against my attack. So I'd like to give him some credit for that. One of the things I like about the German army here is this late era Renaissance Holy Roman army. I think it's really good for rushing, actually. And it kind of has to be, because typically the arquebusiers, they do not have a lot of range, so you have to get in close. And the best way to get in close is, of course, with infantry. So the arquebusiers support the pike and the Zweihander, and you kind of want them to be somewhat close to the battle anyways, despite not only because of their short range, but also it will improve their accuracy. Of course, the arquebus is not a ridiculously accurate weapon. The musket is much more accurate. The arquebus has a lot of kick to it, so it's not quite as accurate, but it served me pretty well here. It's easier to train a person to use the arquebus than it is to use a bow well. Similar to the crossbow, the gunner can point directly at targets and kind of hope to hit them. Of course, being early firearms, the tactic that would remain would just be to mass fire. Mass troops fire at something and you'll probably hit quite a few people with your volleys. So, good game to my opponent, Sinister Bass. And thank you for watching. I will have more videos for you soon.